Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, or good evening, depending where you're joining us from. My name is Scott Anton. I manage business development with Gideon Taylor, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar. Everyone is doing it, and other bad reasons for cloud moves. Now, don't get us wrong. We are all in favor of the cloud. In fact, there are a lot of our team members and a lot of our clients that are all in on the cloud. But we do encourage folks to contemplate why they're doing it. There are a lot of different motivations that organizations consider as they look at moving to the cloud. And we're going to be exploring some of those this afternoon with our CEO and founder, Paul Taylor. I want to let you know that this is the first of three related webinars on this cloud topic. And digital transformation. The second one is coming up a month from now in August, and that is Chapter 2, The Unintended Consequences of SaaS Migrations. Following that, our webinar for September is Chapter 3, What Color is Your Parachute? Smart Strategies to get from today's PeopleSoft to what's next. A little bit of housekeeping. If you have questions, please feel free to enter those in the Q&A or in the chat. We'll make sure we're monitoring both of those, and we're happy to field questions as they come in. If we may take the option to field those at the end, but feel free to enter that information or those questions as you come up with them, and we'll take those as we can. And for those of you who are not familiar with Gideon Taylor, we're all about helping organizations derive the greatest benefit and greatest ROI from their investment in enterprise applications and enterprise systems. So you'll see that as part of our presentation today. And throughout the course of this, Paul is going to start out with some general definitions in terms of what cloud means, because it can mean different things to different people, depending on what you're looking at. And then we'll go ahead and explore the different motivations that organizations have to adopt cloud and cloud solutions. And we are firm believers that the reason of because everyone else is doing it is not necessarily the best reason in the world. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Paul Taylor, President, CEO, and founder of Gideon Taylor. Take it away, Paul.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'll get my my screen shared here, and let's see, and get flipped over to here. Okay, so yes, as Scott said, really we're this series of webinars is thought leadership content. It's broad strategic thinking, and it kind of starts at the 50,000 foot level, and by chapter 3 we're down to about the 5,000 foot level with some really great practical suggestions in chapter 3 for how to prepare for a SaaS replatforming project. Here we're going to be talking about motivations, we're going to be talking about high-level goals, and whether achieving those goals requires a cloud move, or how to fit hitting those goals in with a cloud move. And we'll probably challenge some conventional wisdom along the way. So let's see. This is where we're at here. Now this our webinars, usually my content, usually it's about 80% really pithy stuff for you to think about, maybe 20% shameless plugs. But I usually run out of time to get to all of the shameless plug stuff, the sales content at the end. So you may get to dodge that bullet, but we do want to at least introduce who we are for those of you who are not familiar with us. We do offer a broad range of services and products related to primarily Oracle ERP platforms, PeopleSoft and Oracle Fusion. We also provide solutions that support a very broad range of enterprise applications. we really focus on how can we help your enterprise applications actually say what you want to be saying to your constituents, to your employees, your students, your customers, your partners. How do we, since they're interacting with your enterprise systems more and more, are your enterprise systems saying what you want them to say about you? And are they communicating your investment in your constituencies? And we want to help you accomplish that using a broad range of offerings, and including products and services. Our GTE Forms product has enabled many customers to automate a very broad range of business processes and bring radical new efficiencies to their enterprise business processes. Our IDA digital assistant is really on the cutting edge of helping enterprises to communicate through chat-based AI with all of their constituents, and to give them AI-based and chat-based access to actually get transactions done rather than just answer questions. We provide full service consulting and advisement services that really we can take on any project across your Oracle enterprise stack. So with that introduction, let me see if I can get my slide to advance. Just a few of our clients across a number of different industries. You'll see we have a lot of higher ed clients. We have finance and public sector and commercial clients, healthcare clients. We're grateful for all those who invest in and trust us with their enterprise systems, and also grateful that we can't get all their logos on one slide anymore. So thank you to all of you who are our clients. We appreciate your support. We offer really a broad range of services, including, as I mentioned, GTE Forms services. We offer cloud administration and hosting services, a broad range of PeopleSoft and Oracle consulting services, including full project services, staffing, and managed services for PeopleSoft and Oracle customers, and a very robust and growing AI and UX practice using our IDA and WebUX products. So coming back to reasons, we talked about, and we will talk about some bad reasons for cloud moves, but I invite you to think about and perhaps to comment in the Q&A if you like. What is the driving reason for, if you are considering SaaS moves, or if you've completed a SaaS move, looking at your organization, what do you see the motivation for a SaaS move being for your organization? Is it just get to the cloud? Is getting on the cloud the driving force? We're got a cloud initiative. We need to move our major systems to cloud-based platforms. That's one option. Another option is to meet user demand. So basically, the users are clamoring for new functionality. They don't like how our current screens are looking. We want it to be refreshed and updated and new, and that's why we're considering cloud moves. Or is it that, well, we feel like moving to cloud is going to have a bottom line impact for us? Okay, so we have those three, and I probably should have put together a poll for you here. But if you would like to comment, cloud, user joy, or money, in the comments as to why you think your organization, what's the motivation that your organization has for considering a cloud move. I'd be interested to see that. Okay, so in the meantime, let's talk about, should the cloud move be a top priority? Should it be a priority in and of itself to do a cloud move? And I push back a little bit on some of the conventional wisdom. I think that conventional wisdom is changing. It's getting less radical, but you probably still hear a little bit of this. All you need is cloud. Dun, 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 dun. Um, so yeah, it just needs just more cloud-based, cloud-enabled, more cloudiness is what we need to solve all of our ills. So you may see that in a number of these statements here. So again, give us a thumbs up on the your reaction bar here if you've heard these or things like this. You should already be on a SaaS platform. If you're not already there, you're behind. Or you can feel that kind of implied, that feeling like, oh, if you're not there, you're lagging. Have you heard that? How about moving to the cloud will save so much money? I think that I've heard less of this lately. I think that the industry is getting to understand that the cloud movement is really not a big a big money saver. But you still hear a little bit of this, and I'm interested if you do. Any investment in your current platform is a waste. Hear this or hear it implied all the time, and I wonder if you do too. Moving to the cloud is going to fix my business processes and user experience. Now, people may not say that, but oftentimes that's implied by the fact that we put off fixing the business process and user experience until a cloud replatforming project can take place. The implication is that we're expecting that cloud move to fix things and to make user experience better. Is that really true? And then, cloud apps use best practices, which are better than our way of doing things. So I'm not saying that these conventional wisdom perspectives are 100% wrong. I'm not saying that they're never right. But they're assumptions which may not always be correct. And so we want to just take a little more robust look at the cloud landscape. So like Scott said, we're going to talk a little bit about what we even mean. We're just going to back up a little bit here and look and see, well, what are we really talking about when we talk about cloud, right? So the cloud, whoever came up with that name, is just one of the best marketing people in the world. The whole idea that let's call let's call this move toward hosting our business processes and our business applications outside of our own data centers. Let's call that cloud. It was great because it's very evocative, and that kind of terminology has really taken over the enterprise software space. It can be confusing though, because there are many aspects to the cloud revolution, and they have different impacts and different flavors. So let's just go through and hit those a little bit. So SaaS is short for software as a service, and it really refers to, and I don't say these things in dismissive ways. I'm really just trying to say it as simply and clearly as possible. But software as a service means that you are running in someone else's software instance. So you're taking your data, you're moving it into a vendor's software instance where they control the instance, they control when it's updated, they control when it changes, and you're basically renting the ability to use this software instance. Um, it's on someone else's computer, yes, but it's the software instance itself that you're renting. The opportunity to be in this software, whether that's Workday, whether that's Oracle, Fusion Cloud, you're paying Workday or Oracle to use their software on their system, on their servers. So a few of the features of that, SaaS gives you the benefit of a continuous delivery model, and I do believe that that is a benefit. There are some challenges sometimes with the continuous delivery model. You don't get to choose in most cases when the updates hit. It's just like you don't get to choose when Amazon changes their website. You don't really get to choose when those changes come down the pike, and you need to figure out how to adjust and absorb those changes as they hit. In general, like I said, I think that that's a good thing, but and you can do some of that without going to a SaaS model, but continuous delivery is one of the features. It's part of the landscape. The emphasis is on configuration versus customization. You typically do not have, when you're in someone else's software instance, you don't have the ability to go in and code it differently. You can't go in and customize it on a technical level. So SaaS platforms have to be broadly configurable. And the emphasis is, let's give you the flexibility that you need with lots of configuration options rather than giving you control to go in and change code. So again, that also helps you avoid a lot of problems that can come from over customizing your solution on a technical side. And another benefit is it does help you focus on best practices. And you since it's harder to change, you are incentivized to find a way to make the existing functionality work. So there's some benefit in that. There are, of course, downsides as well, including the lack of the ability to get in and technically change the data structure, make code changes. So one of the important things that we like to point out is that when you're considering SaaS platforms, look very hard at their extension space, at how you can extend them. Most robust SaaS platforms like Workday, like Oracle, Fusion, have ways to build extension applications, kind of the equivalent of bolt-ons in PeopleSoft, that act a little bit like native, like they're a native part of the solution, but which you can build yourself. Look at how robust those extension spaces are before you choose a SaaS platform. So that's SaaS. That's part of the whole cloud paradigm. Another part is PaaS. That's platform as a service. This gives you the opportunity to build and run solutions using tools that you're renting. So on a technical level, those of you who are coders, you've got libraries that you can use to, if I want a function or a feature, I can use a code library that already has that function or feature built, and then I can call those functions in my code. Well, PaaS basically extends that and puts it on a much higher level usually, and says, well, here are some tools. For example, a a digital assistant platform, an or an AI-based digital assistant platform. Here is a mechanism for making for integrations, configuration-based integration platform. And these are all tools that you can rent, basically, and usually you pay for by the transaction, and build them into your solutions. So you don't have to have in-house expertise on artificial intelligence or on configuration-based integration, on any number of things. You can actually just access that technology at the feature level and build it into your solutions. So some of the advantages of PaaS are you get to pay by resource usage. You can focus on the features that you need rather than on the technology necessary or the skill set necessary to build those features. Your platform and infrastructure management are really handed off to the provider, so you don't have to worry about that. You get access to high-end technology without in-house expertise. Usually, PaaS solutions are low-code or no-code solutions that again, you're paying for it because you pay on a transaction basis, and the costs can be significant, but the potential savings are really high. So that's PaaS. You've got IaaS. So IaaS, or ICE, pronounced in various ways, is infrastructure as a service. So basically, it's using someone else's data center, someone else's hardware, someone else's metal. So this is where I want to, I want to run on someone else's hard drive, someone else's memory, someone else's CPU, and there are a lot of advantages to IaaS, to ICE. The first off, when you run your own data center, you're always having to it has to be built out to the level of your peak usage. If you happen to be a school and you run registration in the fall, you're going to have peak usage there, and you have to have enough CPU, memory, and storage power to handle that peak usage. But you have to have it then all year round, even though you're not using it all year round. With infrastructure as a service, you can scale up and down so that you can essentially triple the power of your data center for your peak period, and then bring it right back down to what you need after that peak. So you also get to offload infrastructure management. You have more predictable security. You have automation that helps you deploy, spin up, and tear down infrastructure. A lot of potential power in IaaS. So and we talk about how you can use that a little bit here later. Another feature of the cloud ecosystem is subscription-based licensing, and basically you're going to rent the software rather than buy it. And this is a very innovative development, and it's a transformative development for vendors. And I'm a vendor, and so I can tell you, yes, going to a subscription-based model, whereas previously we did license plus maintenance, it was transformative for us. Bear in mind and think about what the value is for you in that. A couple of the benefits are a lower cost up front, and that can be the case for a client. You can get a lower cost up front, and you can look at the fact that since you're renting, it's an operating expense when you license access to a SaaS model. You subscribe to a SaaS. It's an operating expense rather than a capital expense. So you get to deduct the whole thing on the whole expense up front on taxes, whereas a capital expense you have to depreciate over multiple years. So there is value there, but remember that that operating expense value is only compared to buying a new capital expense. So and there aren't a lot of those available out there. It doesn't really benefit you if you've already bought a license for your existing software. For example, if you're on PeopleSoft right now, it's not going to be a benefit to you to switch to SaaS, specifically going from to operating expense, because all your expenses right now are already operating expenses. Maintenance is already an operating expense. You've already paid for that license. So unless you're comparing to buying a new on-prem license, um, there's not a lot of advantage there. So you can kind of discount that one. Uh, so also the flexibility that's implied by, hey, you're just using the software. You can just decide to go somewhere else next year if you want. Um, well, consider if that's really possible. You know, can you really afford to say, "Oh, we'll just do another project next year and move to another provider?" At an ERP level, the cost involved in switching providers just that isn't an advantage. So I guess I'm telling you, don't drink all of the cloud Kool-Aid when it comes to subscription licensing as a client. It isn't really all that it's cracked up to be. And then managed services. This is the fact that in the cloud paradigm, someone else is operating, maintaining, and fixing stuff. This, I think, is generally a positive for clients. It gives you the opportunity to get predictable spend for a defined scope of and a defined scope that's perpetual. So instead of saying, "Well, I'm going to pay you guys to implement this software for me," you're saying, "I'm going to pay you guys to take care of all of this kind of stuff, all of this kind of request." And really, managed services is kind of built into SaaS, it's built into PaaS, it's built into IaaS, it's part of this whole use someone else's resources paradigm, is that they're going to be providing services to help with that along the way. And there are ways to extend that as well. Lots of potentials in terms of economies of scale. And it's part of how the whole industry is being retooled. And you say, well, gosh, do we need a sysadmin team on site? Or when when we only have sysadmin crises this amount of time, or do we want to leverage someone else's sysadmin team where that's all they do? It's important to balance that with your own internal staffing and career paths, but be aware that cloud moves do impact your team and impact their careers because of the dependence on managed services. Okay, spent quite a bit of time on that, but again, it's important when you think about, were you on the cloud yet? I hope that you will answer the next time, instead of saying yes or no, that you'll say, well, are you talking about SaaS, PaaS, or IaaS? And that you drill down into what that really means, because they're very different offerings. Okay, so with that in mind, and I guess I would say, and maybe you're picking this up, but going to cloud just for cloud's sake, I don't think is a great reason to be going to cloud. I think you should have other reasons. And so if we're going to cloud just because we're going to cloud, that's a decision looking for a justification. Making things better for your users, that has, I think, a more justifiable underpinning. So let's look at what users like and don't like about enterprise systems, or as they work with enterprise systems. First, users do like those. I don't know why that all came up at once. It's supposed to go one at a time. Here we go. All right. Users like being productive. They like to make a difference. So those are a couple of things that people who are using enterprise systems, they want their experience with enterprise systems to make a difference, to produce positive outcomes. As they deal with enterprise systems, they want clarity. They want to know clearly what they should and should not do, and what the procedure is for them to accomplish their work in those systems. They want that to be consistent. They want the enterprise system to perform consistently, and they want to be enabled to provide consistent results. They also want to feel considered. And just to speak to that for a minute, I think we often don't realize the message we're sending. We talked at the beginning about your enterprise systems being a voice for your organization's values and vision. What does it say to your employees or students or users or customers? What does it say when the enterprise systems that they're working in and day out don't change, when they look dated, when they just look dusty and rusty and old? It's easy to feel like, and the message really is, okay, well, the organization doesn't care about this. They're not investing in this product. They're not investing in this platform. Therefore, they're not investing in me. Is that the message that we want to be sending? We have to remember that everyone now lives online. Everyone has a sensitivity to the fact that active websites change, and you can kind of get a feel for how successful and how active a company is by how often their website changes and how updated and tended it is. So if your web pages, your internal web pages don't change, and if your internal processes don't change, people tend to feel, okay, either we're not successful, or the company just doesn't care about me because they're not doing anything for me. Users want to be successful, want to feel like what they're actually doing is they want to feel like they are accomplishing what they're trying to do, and that it's moving them forward, that their experience with the enterprise systems is actually impacting positively the trajectory of their own career. Okay, so what don't users like? Well, users don't like stress. They don't like ambiguity. They don't like things to be unsure and unclear. They don't like high repetition tasks. They don't want to do the same thing over and over again, especially if those are low value tasks. Now, if you work 6 hours a week to compile a report and you don't even know who uses it, and you produce this report and it drops on someone's desk and it goes in a filing cabinet, and we're not really even sure why, but we always have done it, and maybe somebody needs it. That's not very fulfilling, and users don't like that. Don't like things to stay the same, and just to, like we said, for things to get old and moldy. Don't like failure. Don't like to not be able to accomplish what their tasks are or what their objectives are, and maybe a little bit contradictory with not liking stagnation. Users don't like stagnation, but they also don't like change. Don't like to be forced to learn new things, and so, yeah, we're complex beings as people, as human beings. We want things to be familiar, but we also don't want them to stay the same. So good luck with that. But we'll look at a way to try to find a good balance along the way here. So what about money? Should money be the reason that we make enterprise systems decisions? Isn't it the bottom line? So really, the way that we think about money usually in enterprise software is ROI. usually our HR, finance, campus, CRM systems aren't directly driving revenue, but they do affect the return on our investment can be measured and can be considered. So in broad ways, to impact the bottom line, there are just a few ways we can do that. We can reduce expenses. Say, okay, we're just going to spend less money. We can reduce staff, going to let people go, and then we don't have to pay their salaries anymore. That impacts the bottom line. We can delay spending. Say, well, yeah, we've got these big enterprise systems upgrades coming, but we're just not going to do them yet. And we're going to put things off. That can impact the bottom line. None of those three are really fun for a department. They're not necessarily fun for an organization. So I put those on one side. It's typically a more positive experience if you can impact the bottom line by driving revenue and attracting customers, and by increasing efficiency and performance. Those are definitely more palatable ways to impact the bottom line than reducing expenses, staff, or delaying spending. Okay, so with those ideas together, the title of our whole webinar series is Rethinking Digital Transformation. And you may have heard that digital transformation as a label for doing a SaaS project. We're going through a digital transformation, meaning we're implementing Workday, or we're implementing Oracle Fusion, or we're implementing some SaaS product. I think it's maybe a little presumptive to assume that that is a digital transformation, at least in a positive sense. However, so basically, I'm going to propose here as part of my answer to what your priority should be for a cloud move. I'm going to propose a new definition of digital transformation. So let's do a Venn diagram of what we identified helps the bottom line. So here you've got reduce expenses, reduce staff, delay spending, driving revenue, increasing efficiency, attracting customer, improving performance. Okay, now let's overlay that with our answer about what users like and don't like, right? So here's the stuff that users like. Your clarity, high repetition, reducing high repetition tasks, consistency, being productive, etc. And then over here on the side here, we've got low stress and no change, kind of outliers. These are our less happy ways to help the bottom line. These are less practical ways, things that users like. But let's take this stuff in the middle. What if we can do all of this stuff together? What if we can make decisions that both drive revenue, increase efficiency, improve performance, and provide users with greater clarity, consistency, progress, success, engagement, reducing low-level or low-value tasks? What if we can make decisions that make all of that happen at the same time? I'm proposing that's what really digital transformation is. If we can use technology to accomplish these things at the same time, then that's transformative. And that's what we should be doing. So then the question becomes, well, which comes first? Digital transformation as we just defined that, or replatforming on SaaS? Again, I'm challenging the notion that replatforming on SaaS is going to create that digital transformation in and of itself. So let's consider that. Do you have to replatform in order to digitally transform? Let's look at some categories that I think are transformative. Digital initiatives that can have a transformative effect on an organization, that can both improve the user experience and can impact the organization and the bottom line of the organization at the same time. So improving user experience is definitely part of that. As I mentioned, if users don't see their work, especially work users and customers as well, but if they don't see their interaction with your organization improving over time, then it's getting worse. And their experience is getting worse, and that's not going to be positive for your organization. So improving user experience definitely is a big deal. Let's see here. There we go. Oh, getting a couple ahead here. All right. Business process automation, actually letting the computer do more of the work, especially that high repetition, low value work. That is transformative and can be transformative. We focused for 23 years on helping our customers do that, to help systems to do more of the work in an automated way. Artificial intelligence, definitely a potentially transformative technology that can help you accomplish so much more, help your users accomplish so much more, and do it with less resources. Interoperability. This is really the one of the new frontiers of enterprise software. As we're going back into a framework, it used to be that kind of everything was together in one data center, and then we went through everything was in one program and in one computer, and then we went through this kind of in the 70s and 80s a best practices or a best of breed era where we had separate systems to handle the separate functions. And then we kind of consolidated again and brought it all together in the ERP era, where we said, well, hey, we should use the same vendor to handle our HR system and our finance system and our and et cetera, because they'll talk together and that'll be fantastic. And now we're in the SaaS model, and we're seeing fragmentation where we've got sometimes 12 or 15 different enterprise SaaS products that we're using, and all the way along, interoperability has been a question. Well, how do we get that interoperability? Being the ERP system, it was, hey, well, these are from the same vendor, they can talk to each other. Well, now we need a new level of interoperability, and we're going beyond flat files and transfers. We're going beyond database links. We're even going beyond web services. We're going to REST-based integrations and APIs, and we're going to a level of interoperability where you can integrate these systems on a low-code basis. That's what we talked about, integration platform as a service, part of the PaaS layer. That new level of interoperability that's being demanded by the fact that our SaaS world is so fragmented. And then outsourcing is, again, part of the movement here. How do we leverage the offerings of outside vendors, of third parties, to accomplish our goals in ways that we've never been able to do as effectively in-house? And part of transformation means getting rid of some of the old stuff. And that's definitely needs to be part of the plan. It's not necessarily the most fun part, but it's important. So can those things happen without a SaaS move or before a SaaS move? And I'm going to suggest that they can. I'm going to skip this slide. Don't read it. Okay. And we'll just take a look at, all right, well, let's look at, I'll come back to that slide here in a minute. Let's look at a few different approaches. What if we just wait on everything and we don't change our enterprise systems? We don't invest in digital transformation. We don't invest in artificial intelligence. We don't invest in business process automation. We don't invest in updated user experience or in interoperability. We're just going to hold still. Well, what I suggest is that over time, user joy is going to decline. You can't just stay the same. it will get worse. Everything looks older, mustier, crustier. You fall behind the competition. You fall behind industry expectations. And ROI follows the same path. Your current investment can't just sit still. It becomes less suited to the need as the industry moves forward, as requirements move forward. If you don't invest, then things are going to get worse. You'll have less value out of those systems. Okay, so let's dismiss just waiting and say, well, what about replatforming on SaaS first? What's the impact of that on user joy? Again, just looking at the arrows here, we've got improvement this direction, time that direction. So the direction of this curve is not all that encouraging to begin with here. But this is a lot of what reality is. And we tell ourselves lots of happy stories about SaaS projects, but they're hard and they have a big impact on the organization. And to begin with, it's not a positive impact. For your users, the first thing that happens when you start on that SaaS project is that their workload increases. And it increases even more when you get closer to user acceptance testing. When you go live, they're going to experience disruption, their functionality loss. You're going to find out, oh, the new system doesn't do what I thought it was. There's this big learning curve. You figure out, oh, we never did actually address what happens to this report. You end up with less flexibility because you're in a system where you're trying to do things someone else's way. So you get this cliff of user experience plummets. But you have forces that are pushing up from the bottom, that are improving it. You get new functionality from the new system. You have a fresh and new experience, and just the happiness of having the project done helps a lot. Then as you get used to it, the curve starts to go up, and now you're in a place where you can say you're on a new platform and you can say, well, hey, let's invest in this AI project. Let's invest in this business process automation. Let's try to get rid of this particular PDF using this new platform. Let's work on integration between these various systems to accomplish this new thing. These are transformative things that are lumpy still because they're little mini projects in and of themselves. So the curve is going up, trying to recover from this dip. Okay, so again, this is for replatforming on SaaS first. Let's take a look at what this does to ROI. The ROI curve is even worse. I kind of think about this as like a 5-year duration, just so you have a little bit of the same kind of thinking that I'm thinking, and then when I'm drawing these lines. The ROI on that SaaS replatforming project it's out there in the future because the project itself is extremely expensive. You immediately, when you start that SaaS, you start spending money on that SaaS platform, and it's not live yet. So you've got spend that's happening, and it's pushing things down. You've got cloud spend in the sense that you're paying for cloud resources at the same time that you're paying that license. You're paying consultants probably, and then you're paying by redirecting your own resources to this project. And then SaaS goes live and things get better, right? Well, no, not quite yet. You still have, now the cost goes up more because you're using the system more. And so you've got production cloud spending, and you've got functionality loss that you have to deal with, productivity disruption, unexpected costs you didn't think about. There'll always be some. But then again, things start to get better. Consultants roll off. You get some functionality, new functionality that helps your project staff get back to their day jobs. You retire some of your on-prem licenses. You don't have to renew. That helps. You get when you can finally retire some of your on-prem hardware. That helps too. And now you get back to these transformative projects, right? And those create ROI and start helping you dig back out of this pit that you've gone into from this big replatforming project. And I say at the end of 5 years, you're not out of it yet. So there's still a distance to go even to get back to the ROI that you had on your old system. So hopefully that isn't too much reality in one swipe. So let's look at it a different way. What if we say, again, we break out of that paradigm of thinking, well, we can only do transformative stuff on a SaaS model. Well, what if you start that transformation early? What if you are doing business process automation projects, these little transformative projects? You're implementing electronic forms, you're implementing AI, you're implementing new integrations between your platforms, you're building a better user experience, you're building, say one of these is a new employee portal experience or a new customer portal experience. These are, you've got these little dips because there's disruption when you do new things, but then you're going up. So here we modeled three transformation projects. Then you start the SaaS. Okay, well, the SaaS doesn't dip as deeply. You still have all the same downward features that I mentioned before, but they're not as deep and they're shorter because your transformation projects have actually helped prepare you for the SaaS move, and have you've actually moved some of your functionality into these transformational steps so that the SaaS doesn't take as long. There's less functionality to move. This stuff, much of it, if you do it right, can stay the same across that SaaS move. And so because it's shortened, you have time for one more transformation at the end in that same 5-year period. So you actually can end up with user joy ahead of where you started from. And ROI, I don't know if you're actually going to get all the way back to par here, but by investing in transformative technology along the way, you can also shorten the disruption to return on investment that any replatforming project is going to cause. Okay, so the answer is you should never stop transforming. I'm going to go back now to and just spend a minute on this slide right here. When should you move to SaaS then? And I do think that SaaS is in just about everybody's future for your ERP systems. The question is when. So if you look at these arrows, we got risk going up. That's bad. So high is bad on this scale. Time going forward, as it always does. I think that this is a smile-shaped curve. I think that it's easy to move too soon, that it can be risky to move to a SaaS platform too soon. And ways you can tell it's too soon is if the platform you're moving to is immature, if you can't find skilled resources who have expertise on that platform. If you're moving, and again, this comes back to the whole point of our discussion, if you're moving just because everyone else is, that's too soon. You need a better reason than that. If you have to jettison your innovation in order to move, it's too soon. If you're paying a bleeding edge premium, it's too soon. If you don't know how you could get off the new platform, it's too soon. You don't want to lock yourself in forever. If you really are going to say, "Oh, this move to Workday, I know it's our last move ever." Okay, well, that doesn't quite line up with the whole value of, well, we're just renting the software. We can rent something else next year if we want. You better have an idea of how you could get off if you needed to. And then, of course, it is possible to be too late. If if your current platform is stagnant and really it doesn't have any more innovation going into it, if you've got a skilled resource shortage on your old platform, you've lapsed into a dinosaur mentality where we just keep doing it this way because it's the only thing we can do, only thing we know how to do. Your culture of innovation has died. It's too late. If you've got escalating costs from your old platform because they know that they can stick it to you because you're not going anywhere, it's too late. if you don't have a good path off the old platform now. Nobody knows how to move you from PeopleSoft to Oracle Fusion Cloud anymore, because no one's left on PeopleSoft except you. It's too late. So the golden mean here, the Goldilocks zone, the just right zone, is you want to move when your old platform and new platform are close to the same in parity. You don't want to wait until the new platform is so much better than your old platform. You want to go when they're about the same. You want to have a trained and invested workforce. You want to be moving with an architect mentality, meaning that you're thinking about not this is the be all end all that's going to answer all of our issues, but this is going to be the foundation that I then build more transformative uh, projects on top of. That you have a plan to continue your innovation uninterrupted by this big project. You should be able to get a commodity discount, and you should have a beaten path on and a viable path off of that platform. You can tell I'm talking faster because I'm running out of time. So let me skip back ahead and we'll wrap this up. So again, what we really recommend is be looking at how do you get these transformative technologies and tools into your system, whether it's now, whether it's before or after your SaaS move. The sooner the better. And this is highlighting some of the things that we provide. We provide a chatbot and digital assistant to improve user experience, a one-stop portal, self-service based electronic forms. Our eForms offerings are all about business process automation. We also provide robotic process automation. That's a tool and a technology that you should be implementing. AI, you need to be implementing that now in order to not fall behind, and that includes a chatbot digital assistant offering. It includes the AI that's built into robotic process automation. It includes a broad approach to AI and seeing how you can leverage AI to accomplish the goals of your institution. Interoperability, we try to build that into our chatbot offering, so our chatbot can talk to many back-end SaaS systems. We also focus on enterprise integration, including with iPaaS offerings, and electronic forms can interoperate across multiple platforms. And we also would love to be an outsourcing provider to help you move, for example, PeopleSoft onto infrastructure as a service, onto IaaS, onto Oracle Cloud infrastructure, and we provide managed services across. We even provide managed services for development, for people. You can outsource your PeopleSoft development to us, or you outdated systems with managed services and with functional projects. So, and I did, like I predicted, manage to get to the point where we don't have time to talk about any of our sales stuff. So I'll just bring some of those things up and mention that we're happy to talk about our offerings at any point. We have a ton of experience in helping organizations to transform and extend their PeopleSoft experience with GTE forms, and to do so with our other offerings as well. So we'd love to answer any questions that you have. If you'd like to stay and ask any, we are happy to talk about ways that we can help your organization to transform now, whether you're already on a SaaS platform or not, and how to help that be as smooth as possible moving forward. Okay, Scott, do we have any questions in the queue?
I do not see any currently, sir.
Anyone is welcome to stay and ask questions. Otherwise, we will say, hey, thank you so much for attending, and hope that you can come for Chapter 2 next month.
Exceptional job, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. I see our attendee numbers dropping a lot faster than the questions are dropping in, but I think we will gavel it closed.
Thank you. See everybody.
Thanks,
and
everybody.
Again, we'll send this recording out to you probably in the next week or so, and you'll be able to enjoy that at your leisure. Gather the kids
Good.
around.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.